Man, not how I wanted to go out. Almost like without a fight. Damn it. I did not expect that. I did not expect the Kings to go down without a fight like that. I was a little astounded with the outcome of what happened. And I was the one saying that the Dallas Mavericks were going to punt on the season, and at this point probably weren't even going to try. They didn't have Kyrie Irving, and everything that went down with Anthony Davis was traded by the Lakers. But really, honestly, it looked like that might have motivated him to want to even prove himself maybe even more. And the team that looked like they had punted on the season was the Kings. And the Sacramento Kings finished their season losing in the play-in game 120-106 at home, losing at home in Sacramento to the Dallas Mavericks, who they played for the first time with Anthony Davis. The Kings originally had beaten the Dallas Mavericks 3 times this season, but none of those times was with Anthony Davis in the lineup. And as you can see here, the Sacramento Kings started off okay with a 2-point lead at the end of the first, but it was this second quarter here. This will go down as one of their worst quarters ever in a play-in game. So 44, gave up 44 points. 24 of the points was to Anthony Davis and Klay Thompson by themselves. So those two guys outscored the whole Kings team in that quarter. And then in the third quarter, the Kings tried to get some of it back. And even in the fourth, they tried to get some more of it back, but it wasn't enough and it was too late. And Dallas Mavericks came in, put their foot on our throats in the beginning, and pretty much kept it there throughout the rest of the game. And the standings, since the Mavericks beat the Kings, pushes the Kings down to the 10th place. They finished the season 40-42. We already knew that. On a 5-5 record in the last 10 games, kind of limped into the play-in game. They were lucky the Suns weren't full strength, or they would have been pushing their line there for that 9th, 10th spot. Hey guys, real quick before I get too deep into the video, hopefully you're here for the whole video. We are going to be having some videos in the off season. We're going to be doing some documentaries, some interesting stuff you're going to want to see. So you're going to want to subscribe for that stuff. Also, in the future, next season, we're going to want to do some live watch parties and stuff like that. You're going to want to tune in for those things. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. And also, if you can, please click that like button for your boy. And I want to say welcome YouTube to all my folks, my friends, and you Kings fans out there. It's your guy, Jay Woods, aka Shy the Man, and I'm back at you with another episode of the Kings Morning After Midday Cup of Joe with Jay.
I love it.
And today is April 17th, 2025. And the day of the week is... You know what day it is. You know what day it is. Yeah. It's Thursday. Throwback Thursday.
Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore.
Yes, it is. Throwback Thursday.
Back in the days when I was just a little nigga, I looked up to my bigger bro, begged if I could kick it so. When when he went out with girls, I could go tagging along.
Talking about throwbacks, one of my favorite throwback moments for the Kings was a couple years ago when they made the playoffs. The Beam team. They had Fox and Sabonis. Them dudes was clicking really well. Keegan Murray was looking good as a good young draft pick that we had. And they were on their way up. And things are way different now today after this play-in loss. Which brings me to my cup of joe for today. Ooh, my cup of joe's almost empty. Already pretty much downed it, just taking all this in, taking all this news in, watching some of the national point of view. And it's a lot. It was a lot to take in. There's a lot going on. And like I said, I really appreciate you if you're joining me to hear what I had to say about it and my take on it. You know, I don't have a ton of subscribers. I don't get a ton of views, but if you're listening right now, hopefully you'll listen for the whole video. Hopefully you'll subscribe. And I appreciate you for listening to my thoughts for a minute. But yeah, am I sad? Yeah, I am. This season was a really rough season. It was, for me, it was kind of hard to be a Kings fan for a lot of this season. Just hearing some of the takes and the feeling of some of the national people and the way the Kings team and the organization is looked at. And then just things kind of repeating themselves. Just looking like the same old Kings, the same old Kangs, even though we have different players, we have different front office, and it just kind of just ends the same way as it always has. They used to say that the old Arco Arena was cursed, but damn, if this doesn't feel like a curse right now, I don't know what does. It's just cycles and cycles of just bad decisions and different coaches and bad draft picks, and oh man, it's just the same stuff no matter who's here, no matter who the front office is. It's like they get into the front office and whatever mojo or bad mojo the Kings organization has, it just gets into them and they start making bad decisions. Now, Monty McNair, you know, there was a time when people said, in Monty McNair we trust. You know, people really trusted his decisions and what he was doing, what way he was going about things. But then in the end, people just started not liking his decisions and what was going on and some of his draft picks that he's made. He seemed really intent on getting a guard or a point guard. It seemed like a lot of his draft picks were guards. And there were some years when they were undersized guards. And that's where we're at now without Fox. We traded away our number one guy. And De'Aaron Fox, our alpha. And none of these point guards or none of the point guards that he's drafted are even here anymore. Devin Carter didn't play half the season. And is he undersized? Maybe. A little, maybe. He plays really good defense, but there's times when it seems like the offensive player's size is able to just kind of shoot over him or overtake him or drive past him for, you know, a shot because they're, you know, maybe a few inches taller than him. They had Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell didn't really pan out the way the Kings wanted him to pan out. You know, now they're left with this huge hole at point guard, and that's the first thing DeMontis said in his public exit interview was the biggest issue that the Kings need at the moment is a point guard. Pretty blunt from Sabonis to say that. Pretty interesting to say that 24 hours later, you know, the next morning. That's the first thing he had to say was the issue with the team. Not sure, you know, maybe he's expressing the fact that Fox shouldn't have been traded, maybe. I'm not sure about that. He didn't say the first thing they needed was a coach. So obviously he's okay with Doug Christie. Yeah, my fandom this year was really, really pushed. And if they didn't make the play-in, I don't know, I probably would have disowned the Kings at that point. But they made the play-in. But seeing the way this team didn't fight in the end kind of just really made me feel like they were punting on the season. They didn't really care at this point anymore. They just wanted the season to end. get the new GM. I think it was starting to be a feeling that Monty McNair wasn't going to last, too much longer. Even if they made, I don't know, even if they made the playoffs, if they made the playoffs like 6th spot or 7th spot or whatever, or even maybe got to the 8th spot to play OKC, maybe he might have kept his job, but the writing was on the wall. They had already hired Scott Perry. Scott Perry was introduced the minute after that game was ended as Monty McNair was announced as fired the minute that game ended. And, by the next morning, Scott Perry was already announced as the new GM. And some say he was already hired before Monty McNair was fired, and that the writing was on the wall for Monty McNair. So this was a season of turmoil, lots of turmoil. We lost our number one point guard, our number one guy in the team, the franchise player. We lost our head coach. Now, the head coaching thing, I did not think should have happened. They were on a 7-game losing streak or something like that. Mike Brown still should not have been fired. That's the first way to get some type of consistency under your belt, is to find a coach, get that coach, and let him do his thing for at least 4 years, 3, 4, 5 years. Give him some time. Mike Brown, I don't think, was given sufficient enough time to all the way do what he wanted with this team. And then in the end, he lost his job, even though he was really critiquing these guys. He was hard on these guys, which in my opinion is fine. That's what a coach is supposed to do. Don't let these diva players get your coach fired because the coach is being too hard on you. And then we lose Brown, he gets fired, and shortly after that we lose Fox. So, we lost De'Aaron Fox, the trade went down. We got 2 of the Bulls players that were some of the main reasons why the Bulls were not good together at the Bulls. But DeMar DeRozan, in my opinion, is a good player. He's getting up there in age. He's good at what he does, and he's good at getting that midi-game, post-game. He's good in the clutch. And he was fighting. He was the one guy that was fighting last night. DeMar DeRozan wanted it. He was trying. He played his game that he normally plays. He wasn't, off-kiltered, and he was doing what he could, LaVine, I don't know. There was times and moments when the moment seemed too big for LaVine. There was a couple times he drove to the basket and then didn't know what to do with the ball. He didn't lay it up. He didn't try to dunk it. And then he would just kind of do a wraparound pass and would lose the ball, or would get lucky and the guy would catch the ball. But some of his decision making out there was a little questionable. And I don't know. It just didn't feel like he was just playoff. I don't know. He was like a deer in the headlights almost to me in this playoff series. Like he didn't know what the heck to do. Domantas Sabonis, same thing. He kind of was out of his game. He was not playing right. He was losing the ball over and over. He was getting beat up extremely well by the length of the Dallas team, namely Anthony Davis and Garrett. They kind of run a too big. I think it's kind of known at this point that Anthony Davis doesn't like playing center. He'd rather play power forward. So they got Garrett out there playing center, and it creates this too big lineup, this really tall defensive lineup that Sabonis was not able to overcome last night. Only scored 11 points. He got 12 rebounds, around his average, near his average. But he needed to beast up a little bit more. He needed to post up a little bit more. He needed somebody to run that two-man game with him, because LaVine wasn't doing it. And I'm surprised DeMar DeRozan wasn't doing it. DeMar DeRozan made comments in the beginning of the season that the two-man game with Sabonis is really hard to stop. You can't stop it. But they didn't go to it enough, I believe. And Sabonis just really wasn't effective out there last night, especially against the two bigs who sometimes even double-teamed him. So it was a rough night for Sabonis, who didn't really step up, in my opinion. Keegan Murray was kind of, I can't tell you anything Keegan Murray did. He hit the first three-pointer of the game. He only scored 9 points for the game. He should have been shooting way more. And Keegan Murray kind of just seems lost in the shuffle at this point. He's not aggressive in any kind of way, even with his three-point shooting. He just, I don't know. I can't tell you anything he did last night or remember anything he did. And he gets all these minutes and just he's not filling the stats with the minutes that he gets, in my opinion. Keon Ellis, kind of the same. I can't really tell you anything that Keon Ellis did last night. So this Kings going into this off season, they're going to need to improve this roster definitely. So bottom line, the Kings morning after bottom line. Today's bottom line is, my bottom line is, like I said, going into this off season, Kings are going to have to make some, I don't know how many changes they're going to make, how different the roster is going to look. But like Sabonis said, one addition that they're going to have to find either in free agency. I don't think they'll find it in the draft immediately because the draft is always a dice roll. But they're probably going to have to find a really good veteran point guard in the offseason. And that'll probably be Scott Perry's first assignment, is to find that next really good point guard for the Sacramento Kings to kind of lead this team of guys that are just kind of, right now, kind of a jumbled mess of offense and not enough defense. They're going to have to look for some more defensive players as well. They have some decisions to make on some unrestricted free agents. We're going to have to see where those guys go. None of them are the main players or the main starters, but there is a lot of unrestricted free agents on the bench and in their G League team. So bottom line, the Kings didn't move on to the next game of the play-in series. Somewhat of a disappointing season, somewhat of a crazy season. It even has some of the national guys like Windhorse calling us just a dysfunctional franchise, one of the worst franchises in the NBA, and that's really hard. That's really hard to take as a fan. I'm just hoping the Kings can kind of sort of get it together. Vivek hopefully can hire some good personnel that can get some good players in here. And as far as the coaching change, I'm thinking Doug Christie's probably going to get hired as the head coach. Now, if you're going to do that, do that. Let the dude coach for a few years. Give him like 3-4 years, to implement what he wants and what he's going to do. I mean, if you're going to hire Doug Christie, don't fire him in 1 year, 2 years, and then it's just another coaching change, So how much of the coach is the reason for the wins and losses? I don't know. I'm not sure, Probably not the biggest deal, even though they're always the first to go once something goes wrong. But part of it is our consistency. We got to be more consistent. Let Doug coach. If you're going to hire him, let him do his thing. Give him at least 3 years. I mean, for consistency's sake. And in this offseason, there's a lot of decisions to make. Sabonis says he's happy here. Monk says he's happy here. DeRozan, I'm not sure what his next move is. He obviously wants to play in the playoffs, and I'm sure he wants to win a championship. So I'm not sure if he's going to request to move on or if he's going to stay with us and fight it out with us. Zach LaVine, I'm not sure about Zach LaVine, what they're going to do with him. They might keep him. But he can't be the point guard or the head of the snake. He turns the ball over a lot when he tries to pass, so he can't be that head of the snake. He needs a point guard. He's the type of player that could use a point guard. And the Kings are going to have to look for that in this offseason. And, it's probably going to be a long offseason. It's going to be a lot of work to do, a lot of construction on this team. But I'm here for it. Scott Perry is going to do the job. We're going to see what he does with this team, and hopefully he can mold it into something that is a perennial playoff player. That's my bottom line and my cup of joe. French roast, 1 creamer. All right, I'm going to give you some real quick stats. I don't want to bore you with stats, especially in this loss. So I'm going to do it real quick for you guys. So the leading scorer for the Dallas Mavericks was Anthony Davis, who had 27 points. He was hitting shots from all over the place. He was shooting post-game. He was shooting midi-game. He was also shooting threes, and he hit a lot of shots. Klay Thompson also had a big game, 23 points. He got a little redemption from his 0-10 performance when he was with the Warriors versus the Kings not too long ago last year. or the year before. I can't remember exactly which one it was. I think it was last year. And their leading assist getter was off the bench. Dante Exum with 6. Rebounds was Anthony Davis, and PJ Washington also pitched in with 9 rebounds for both of them, respectively. And the Sacramento Kings leading scorer was DeMar DeRozan, the OG, out there, hit 33 points. Zach LaVine was the leading assist getter with 9. He was out there trying. I mean, 9 assists, 20 points isn't the worst game ever, but he did come into some situations where he did not look clutch. I mean, he lost the ball a few times for some turnovers and some clutch moments, and he couldn't get his 3 going, even though he tried. He was even shooting from his spot at the left top of the 3 and just couldn't hit last night. Leading rebounder was Domantas Sabonis with 13. That's probably the best thing he did last night was his rebounds. He did have 5 assists, but only 11 points. We need more points from Domantas Sabonis. I'm not sure if he was mad about the point guard situation or what, but just wasn't running the 2-man game with him enough with LaVine or with DeRozan. And I would like to see that more, because that's how he kind of eats, is through that 2-man game. Devin Carter got 10 points off the bench. It was good to see him out there. He was balling. He hit a 3, got excited, put the team up by 2 points. But then that was like the last great moment of the game for the Kings. And then team stats. Dallas Mavericks hit for about 50% from the field. Kings were 46% from the field. 3-pointers. Mavericks hit 50% of their 3-pointers. They were 14 of 28, which is amazing. Kings were 39%, which isn't bad. Mavericks hit 1 more 3 than the Kings. But free throws was a big difference, where the Mavericks hit 13 more points and 3s than the Kings and shot 92%, which is really good. That's really clutch, and that's what you want in the playoffs. You want to be getting downhill to where the team has to foul you and you want to hit your shots. Rebounds, Kings actually had more rebounds than the Mavericks, if you can believe that. They had 44, the Mavericks had 41. And assists to turnovers, Dallas Mavericks had 29 assists and 9 turnovers. Kings had 23 to 18 turnovers. That's a big deal right there. They had double the amount of turnovers that Dallas did. 18 turnovers is a lot of turnovers to have in a game, and it's going to be hard to win when you're having that many turnovers. Guys were throwing the ball away a lot, which just made them look really nervous, made them look unprepared for the moment. Points in the paint was even at 40, which is kind of surprising to me. So that's the team stats. It doesn't really say what that this was a blowout, but this was a blowout, and the 13 points difference is pretty much from the free throw line. Eye test. So for the eye test, I'm going to show the second quarter, which is where the Mavericks blew out the Kings. And then I want you guys to see a couple of these press conferences and what a couple of people had to say about this Kings team right after that. So I'm going to go ahead and advance it up here to right at the second quarter, because that's when Anthony Davis and Klay Thompson kind of went crazy. The Kings needed a lot better defense than what they were playing. The closeouts, I mean, they weren't bad, but they weren't great either. Maybe too much switching at times. But I believe the Kings are going to have to bring in a really good defensive coach next year. A defensive coach that can kind of school these guys on a defense they can play as a foundation for them, and a better way to close out, a defense that will help them close out on threes, because they're not good at that currently.
Like I said, limit them to one side, just keep under transition.
And forced to shoot a desperation hook. Washington drives and hits the floater. He started it.
Just really soft defense by Trey Lyles right there.
Williams spot up 3. Got it. Second.
That's great shooting by Williams. Slow closeout. Double team at 3. Don't know if you need that.
Williams will try it again and get it again.
Brandon Williams was hot. He was hitting his shots. For the most part, it seemed like the Mavericks were hitting their shots and shooting really well. Boom. And Klay Thompson only had a sliver of open. Needed a sliver of openness to hit that shot.
There's Levine from three.
Levine hit that, but he just couldn't really get hot from three. He was missing a lot of threes last night.
Thompson starting,
and Klay Thompson just had it, as you can see. He was hitting. He just needed just an inch of space, and he was hitting. Pushed the lead up to 20. Once the lead was pushed to 20, it really felt like the game was pretty much over at that point. The Kings were only able to get back to like 14 or 16 points, and they were never able to get any closer than that. I would have liked to see a lot more of that two-man game right there between Levine and Sabonis, but it didn't happen last night. Klay Thompson has always been a Kings killer ever since we didn't draft him. But he was calling last night's game a redemption game, so he was really taking it personal when he had that 0 for 10 performance with the Warriors. That also might have got him traded, too. And to see Anthony Davis hitting so many threes and hitting so many shots, it was hard to watch. And right there is some of the defense that I was talking about earlier, where they kind of have this too big defense. I mean, you got Anthony Davis. You're able to finally get by Anthony Davis. And you got Gafford there waiting to swat your ball into the third row of the audience. So a lot of this was defense. Their two big lineup that they use, Anthony Davis not wanting to play center, so them having to put centers around them is actually been looking good. You know, he can play power forward, you know. He can shoot and he can play down low, so it works, you know. And they bring a center in, and, you know, it's hard to get points on them down low. Kudos to them. Kudos to Jason Kidd. They have a lot better players than you think. P.J. Washington was very hard for the Kings to guard. Even guys like Derek Lively were hard for the Kings to guard. Klay Thompson, he was looking real spry. He was looking quick on his feet, and he only needed an inch of space to hit a shot, and that's what he was doing. He was on last night. And so was people off the bench like Brandon Williams, who had 17 points. And I feel like the Kings had kind of a hard time guarding some of these guys. Their shots looked hard, and a lot of the Dallas Mavericks shots looked easy. Next up, the Kings will be going into the offseason. They went fishing. They will be 1-2-3 Cancun in it for now, while they let the front office go ahead and work on getting some better players out here, getting some more players, getting this team deeper, which is another thing they need to do, is get deeper, in my opinion. So if you can, go ahead and click that like button for your boy. Click that subscribe button. We're going to still be doing stuff in the off season. We're going to be bringing you updates, Kings updates, NBA updates. We're going to do some documentaries too, which you're going to want to see. So go ahead and click that subscribe button so you can check those things out when they come out. Betting lines. Well, there's going to be some betting lines that come out for the playoffs. You guys are going to want to check that out. If you can, click the link in the description below if you want to do some sports betting in California. It's like a traditional sports book. I use BetUS. It's a pretty good site if you want to do sports betting. And we also have a link to Prize Picks down there below if you haven't tried that. Both links will give you free money if you use them, and they help out the channel. I appreciate you. Hey, and make a comment for me down below if you can. That also helps me kick the algorithm's ass, bring some more eyes to the content. But how do you feel about the Kings going into this offseason? What do you think their number one priority is? Make a comment below. Answer that question. Make a comment below. What do you think this Kings team really needs to get to that next level, to get into the playoffs without having to play in the play-in tournament? Make a comment below. Let me know. Also, click that like button. If you're not subscribed, click that subscribe button so you'll get notified the next time an episode comes out or the next update comes out. Whatever we report on, you can get an update of that. Just click that subscribe button for your boy. And also, if you can, share the content. I'd really appreciate it if you shared the content. Thank you. And I got a motivational quote for you guys today. All right, and this motivational quote is by Norman Vincent Peale. And it goes like this. Believe in yourself. Have faith in your abilities. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy. That's basically having belief in yourself, staying strong, knowing that you can do whatever your goals are and whatever you set your mind to. Believe in yourself. Have faith in your abilities. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy. That's a great quote, and it's all about confidence and having confidence in yourself and in your abilities. Don't doubt yourself. Once you doubt yourself, you're done. Once you quit, you're done. Don't doubt yourself. Don't quit. Believe in yourself. Keep moving. Keep pushing. You'll get that goal. You'll get that achievement if you really try. And that's pretty much all that I have for you guys today. I really appreciate you for joining me. I appreciate you for watching this far. And I would appreciate it if you click that like and that subscribe button as well, so that you could get notified the next time there's an episode or anything comes out on this channel of the King's Morning After Midday Cup of Joe with Jay. And like I said, we're going to be doing some Kings updates, Kings news as they come out. We get player acquisitions, anything like that. An episode's going to come out. We're going to do some watch party stuff later, and we're going to be doing some documentaries in the off season about the Kings and different Kings players and things that have happened to the Kings. You're going to want to see that, so go ahead and click that subscribe button now for your boy, so you don't miss any episodes from the Kings Convo channel. And with that, that's all that I have. That's the end of the season. There won't be any Kings Morning After shows until next season when there's more games. But like I said, we will be doing some other things on the channel, so please be subscribed for that. Check those things out. And for now, I'm out. But before you go, check out these moves. It's good. Make sure you're subscribed. Please subscribe. Click that like button. This is the last Kings Morning After of the season, but we're doing more stuff, so click that subscribe button for your boy and make a comment. Comment on anything. I appreciate it.